I completely forgot the format of this podcast. My brother and sister-in-law are having a baby in a month. I'm terrified of babies. How do I overcome this and be excited to be an aunt? Or possibly an aunt?
So I got some really good advice from a friend of mine when I was, Catherine was pregnant, and I was like, I don't know what to do with a baby. I can't hold every time I hold a baby, I feel like I'm going to drop it on and it's going to break its leg. And this is 100% of the times I have held a baby. And he said to me, you know what you're not good at until you do it a bunch? Anything. And that is the same with parenting. It's something as simple as holding a child, and now I don't even think I grab him by the leg and I'm just like...
No, I think you misunderstood the question. No, Sarah said that she's terrified of babies, not of not being a good aunt.
Or of hurting babies, just like...
Yeah, she's scared of babies, and who wouldn't be?
Their heads are huge. Have you ever had a baby reach its hands up and it's handsome to hear? If you were a full-sized human, that would be awful. It would be the worst. I had a friend whose baby started walking when he was 9 months old, so it's still a baby size and shape, and it's just like... I was like, this is the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, Sarah, we're not going to be able to help you because babies are objectively terrifying. I mean, what other creature that you welcome into your home poops on you? Rats. That's a great point. It's true. No, and I have to tell you, on that front, I find rats terrifying. That might be the actual definition of animal I find terrifying. It's an animal that poops on me in my home. I'm okay with a pigeon pooping on me in the park because, it's the pigeon's park, I'm coming to its house. Well, if a pigeon comes to my house and poops on me, we have a real problem.
Which could definitely happen, which is why pigeons in your house is never good. Anything flying inside of your home is a really good opportunity for a YouTube video because it's a whole genre that I enjoy.
Oh,
but not a good deal for the person dealing with it.
On this front, just real quick, I know that we're far away from your question, Sarah. We don't have an answer for you. Today I was talking to my friend Sarah, and she told me that she once in New York City, right here in New York, in a New York apartment, which you're probably familiar with the approximate average size of, had a squirrel in her apartment for 3 days. 3 days!
At that point, it's are you paying rent?
I mean, at that point, you're I'm sorry, you leave the apartment, you're it's the squirrel's house now. Oh man, and then I don't want to steal the thunder of Sarah's story, but the punchline is incredible. I was like, so how did you get rid of it? And she said, well, after 3 days, I locked my cat in my bedroom, opened all the windows, went out to the bars, came back at 4 o'clock in the morning, and it was gone.
Yeah, that's what cats are for. The very reason we started living with them was to deal with the rodent problem. This question comes from Denny, who says, my fiance calls a TV remote a clicker. I call it a remote. Who is right?
It's a rare situation where you're both wrong.
I feel like Danny is wrong for thinking that it's a question that needs asking. People can call different things different things. There's a word for it. I can't remember what it is. Symbolism. Nope.
Synonym?
Synonym. No,
it's not that one. Again, no.
Homophone.
It's not a homophone, and it is not a synonym. It's a synonym.
That's what it said.
Homophone is it's like bear and bear, and then you don't want to confuse those because one means uncovered and the other means hashtag panic.
Oh, you're really scared of animals that poop on you.
I lose. No, I think you gotta let it go. I mean, by the way, this is not going to be the biggest thing that you're gonna have to let go in your marriage. I think you gotta let it go.
But you said they were both wrong.
Oh yeah, because they argue about it instead of just just agreeing that like it's going to be both, and maybe neither, or alternately come up with a third option.
A little fun like couple thing.
That's just for the two of you. That defines. So you could call it like, hey, could you get me the schmorgel?
I feel like something cuter than that, like the crumpet. Yeah, give me the crumpet.
I think it should
is that like a pastry?
It should be something that already exists, you know? Like, it should be something that, like, it plausibly could be like, hey, will you get my sweater? Or specifically, hey, will you get my red sweater?
People who are at your house are just like, oh my god, these people.
Yeah. Hey, could you use my rain boots to turn the channel there? I like this bit. I like this bit a lot. We should keep doing this for hours. Alright, we got another question. This one comes from Jamie. I moved in with my boyfriend and both of us are paying for Netflix. What? First off, Jamie, neither of you should be paying for Netflix. Right here. Oh yeah, Hank's password? Sorry, there's more detail. Both of our families use our Netflix accounts. That explains it. He has a 16-year-old brother. My brother is 19 and in college. Who gives up their Netflix? I mean, Jamie, I'm about to, like, it's going to be one of those moments where, like, the Matrix cracks open. Here's the thing, Jamie. You can use one Netflix account for both the 16-year-old and the 19-year-old, and you, and probably your parents. It takes so long before Netflix notices what you're up to. I'm not here to tell you to steal, Jamie, but ...
And then, with the money you have left over,
buy merchandise at dftba.com. I knew you had some kind of self-interested
or,
thing.
you know,
it
something
wasn't going to be like hurricane relief.
$9.99 to hurricane relief. I apologize. Or patreon.com/.
Both extremely worthy causes. Noah asks, this might be the best question we've ever received on Dear Hank and John. Dear John and Hank, what is the best hairstyle?
John's!
There's so many good ones. You know, John, I used to say when I was a young man, by the time I'm 40, I want to have a job that'll let me get a mohawk.
And you don't.
I can get a mohawk, right?
Teach you about chemistry with my spiky green mohawk.
I could have like a really classy, subtle mohawk.
Oh, that's the worst. That is not the best hairstyle. So remember the band NSYNC? Well, many of you won't. Remember the band NSYNC? For those of you who don't, they were kind of like One Direction, but like not as good as real life.
Pretty scary.
I got anxious for a second. I genuinely like One Direction. I know you guys want me to back down, but I'm not going to. I like One Direction. Anyway, what I'm about to say is very flattering to NSYNC, which was there was this guy in NSYNC, Lance, and he had just like the tips of each of the spikes was kind of blonde frost.
Frosted tips.
Frosted tips, yeah, that's the best hairstyle. I mean, if I can pull off that hairstyle. Okay, I'll tell you what, if you get a mohawk, you'll see me on Crash Course Literature the next day. You just made it perfect. I will look exactly like Lance in like 1998. I will be wearing I will be full cosplay.
John, if you had to get a tattoo, what would it be? Best wishes, Emily and Megan. Are you going to make us do this?
No.
If you had to get a tattoo, if you had to go down the street to the place in New York City where I'm sure they do very good tattoos because they do everything very well here.
Traffic. I would get, we have kind of a good built-in tattoo that, I think if you're getting a tattoo, and I don't want to prescribe your tattoo.
Right, maybe you can make this be about your tattoo.
Great point, man. So, I wanted to do one of two things. I wanted to either like reflect something that's like going to be a thing, I'm sure, for the rest of my life, which there aren't that many of, like maybe like Sayer's name, or like the kids' names, or I wanted to be something that like reflects the point in my life when I got that tattoo. I think I'll probably just get DFTBA because I've said it for a long time, it's important to me. But I also might get the AFC Wimbledon crest tattooed on my
DFTBA is a good one. I've actually thought about it. For a second, for once upon a time, I was like, I could get every company logo of a company I started. And then Captain was like, that is the douchiest thing I've ever.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to prescribe their tattoo usage, but don't do that.
But yeah, I think a Tuatara would be a good tattoo. They're really great.
That would be a cool tattoo. By the way, we are doing the phrase of the week thing, where we each have a phrase of the week, but we don't know what the other person did, so we're going to reveal it at the end of the hour. But I already know what Hank says. He already used it. This question comes from Lindsay, who writes, "Dear John and Hank, have you ever owned a turtle?" I know the answer to this question. I literally don't know if Hank does. Do you know the answer?
I had a roommate in college who had a turtle.
Nope.
Yeah, I mean, I do it all the time, but then every time someone else does it to me, I'm like,
Yeah.
Recently, I was watching a YouTube video. I was just watching a YouTube video from a YouTuber. I liked their videos. I watched them with Catherine as like a fun thing to do in the evening, and he was like, I had a dream that I was hanging out with Hank and John Green, and I pooped my pants, and it was just like I was like watching a YouTube video, like this isn't about me. Why do you make this about me? I'm just trying to have a nice evening. About how you think about me.
So I recently had a dream, and I know nothing is as boring as other people's dreams, but I recently had a dream, and I wrote this whole long tweet thread about it, and then I didn't post it because while writing it I realized this is super weird, so I'm going to tell you about it now instead. I've been a little, kind of freaked out in the run-up to the publication of this book and everything, and I had this dream that the weekend before the book came out, I spent with John Cena, or Senna, I literally don't know his name. He's a professional wrestler, and I don't know anything about him. But in my dream, he was so unbelievably kind to me. And so generous and thoughtful. It was like an angel appeared to me in a dream in the form of this professional wrestler. He was like, listen man, it's going to be okay. I understand what it's like. I go out in front of 30,000 people every Saturday and I beat people up. The shows you're doing are going to be much smaller than that and a lot less that can go wrong. You're probably not going to get injured. So I'd just like to thank John Cena for that.
All right, John. For a final question.
Okay.
I mean, maybe I should say that this podcast is brought to you by John Cena.
Yeah. This is where you would say his catchphrase. If only you knew it.
It's just like, John Cena!
Can you smell what The Rock is cooking? That was The Rock's catchphrase. That's the only one I know from professional wrestling.
John Cena's catchphrase. Strawberry milkshakes for everybody! Is it really?
I was like, that's more evidence that he's great. Today's podcast is additionally brought to you by the fact that I did not know that we were doing this bit. Today's podcast is additionally brought to you by Hank's Mohawk. Hank's Mohawk, never gonna happen.
Today's podcast is brought to you by Justin's Turtle, not Justin. And John's Turtle, maybe not anything.
All right, before we get to the news from RCX a little bit, what is the last question?
The last question we have here is from Jessica, who asks, I travel often for work. How do you guys keep up exercising and maintain a healthy diet on the road? Well, first you tell every venue they're like, what, you're probably going to be here around dinner time, what do you want? And you're just like, pizza.
Yeah. So I'm gonna eat like cheese pizza 22 consecutive nights. And then I'm gonna run in the morning, but more out of fear than out of desire to become fit.
Oh my God.
So that's the key, Jessica. Pizza and fear.
Alright, what's the news from AFC Wimbledon?
AFC Wimbledon, America's favorite third-tier soccer team. And the news is crisis. Crisis, panic. Oh God. AFC Wimbledon have played 12 games. They have scored 5 goals. A lot of Americans complain that there are not enough goals in soccer, and for once I agree with them. We need many more goals.
And so there's like a table. Where are you on the table?
If you're in the bottom 4, you don't get to play in League 1 in the next season. You have to go play in stupid League 2 with like Cheltenham. And we're in that bottom 4. It's a crisis.
Are you meeting somebody?
Lots of debate within the AFC Wimbledon community. What do you do? Because Neil Arndt, beloved Wimbledon legend, led them to promotion to League 1. Wonderful person, loving member of the community. But is he in the hot seat? We don't know. I don't know. I don't have inside info. I might have a little bit, but I don't know.
For good players, man. It's hard to find those people who are going to be your new left wing. We just can't fly without a left wing. It's true.
We just don't have any money, which is going to be an ongoing problem. So, yeah, what's the news from Mars? Speaking of not having enough money to accomplish a goal.
I don't know, John. I didn't look up any. It was a very busy time. The Mars is really good. It's doing great. It's doing just fine.
Before we close out the podcast, I just want to briefly tell you guys something amazing, which is that like 15 minutes before this started, I walked into the dressing room and Hank was watching a virtual reality tour of a 747. So I'm not sure he's being strictly speaking accurate.
That was book research.
Okay, actually, that sounds credible. What was your phrase? Wait, can I guess what your phrase for the week was?
Yes.
The thing was, you recently said something that I now think it might have been.
Uh-huh.
Because you squeezed it in a weird way. But I'm going to stick with my original guess, which is crumpets.
No.
Oh!
That was a red herring.
What is it?
What did you think it was?
I don't remember the other one.
The strawberry milkshake. And I was not adequately paying attention, so I'm just going to say other people's dreams.
That's incorrect. It was rain boots.
Rain boots! Oh, duh!
All right, thank you for listening to Dear Hank and John, as they say in our hometown. Don't forget to be awesome.
I guess I did a thing wrong. Yeah, just do things bad, and then when you do things like normal, everybody's like, get away! Not two. Hi. So I don't know if you guys have been paying attention, but there's been recent news about the universe, which is exciting. They are so I don't know if you know this, but the vast majority of matter's missing. We still don't know where it is. We see stuff out in the universe, and we can tell by how galaxies spin and interact that things are heavier than they look. And so the vast majority of matter is just missing. We call it dark matter, we don't know what it is, but it may be that we just found a bunch of dark matter. And it's made of baryons, which are sort of like the normal stuff, protons and neutrons, so it's not even that weird. It's just maybe it exists in a certain level of energy that makes it impossible to see. So that's new information, it's very exciting, and I don't really understand it, because let's be honest. But it's made of quarks, so I'm going to sing something about quarks.
a fundamental constituent of matter. Observed in 1968 through inelastic scatter, we found that the protons aren't as simple as we thought. We thought they were solid particles, but they are not. Protons are in fact made up of 3 separate pieces. It just gets more confusing as our knowledge increases, and that is what a quark is. It's a piece of a proton, and they also make up other things, including the neutron. Oh, up, down, strange turn, top, bottom. If you don't know what a quark is, it don't matter. You still got them in with leptons and bosons, unless something's amiss, they make up everything that we can see and that we know exists. Neutrons are composite particles that physicists call hadrons. Many types of hadrons are theoretically described, but most exist for only very brief amounts of time. Works how electric charge, color charge, mass, and spin. And having color charge means they exist solely inside of other kinds of particles and cannot exist alone, which quarks have never been studied on their own. No, up, down, straight, chunk, top, bottom. If you don't know what a quark is, it don't matter. You still got them with leptons and bosons, unless some things are missed, they make up everything that we can see and that we know exists. Quarks can join together in 2 different ways. Baryons and mesons, but most instantly decay. If a particle has 3 quarks, then it's a baryon. If a one quark and an antiquark, then it is a meson. These tiny bits of matter are part of almost everything, and there is no unified theory that make it less confusing. But the fact that we've identified that they exist at all is so freaking remarkable that I just did it all. Oh, up, down, straight, sharp, top, bottom. If you don't know what a quark is, it don't matter. You still got them, and we're leptons and bosons, unless something's amiss, they make up everything that we can see and that we know exists.
I'm not going to do a full set because it's a book reading, and that's weird. We'll ask, raise your hand if you know who I am. Raise your hand if you didn't know that I played music. Okay. Okay. I haven't done it in a long time, like on the channel, so I don't know how it works. But you know, you guys are hardcore. Good. This song is also about quarks. It's not just about quarks. It's I don't know. What are you gonna do?
Well, a quark can never exist by itself in isolation. Something very odd happens when you try to separate them. The energy it takes to break up those 2 best friends is just enough to create 2 more to join back up with them. And a photon has no mass, and thus it travels at light speed. If you can imagine going that fast, and if you try, I think you might be emitted and absorbed both in the exact same instant, even if you traveled from a place 13 billion light years distant. Cause the universe is weird, I'm kind of freaking out. What the heck is this all about? Infinite, unbounded sets and hadronizing gluon jets, and we'll never understand half of what we haven't had. At least that's what I am here. Cause the universe is weird. Well, an electron has a strong charge as strong as a proton and a tiny mass, but not non-existent like the photon. And you might want to take a seat now, because this might blow your mind. It has a massive charge, but not apparently a size. And there's a lot of stuff all around you right now. Your chair, your planet, and your sister's neighbor's cow, and all that mundane massive energy is all we know and understand. But it's only 4% of what the universe has at hand. Though this may need some updating. Cause the universe is weird, I'm kind of freaking out. What the heck is this all about? Infinite, unbounded sets and hadronizing gluon jets, and we'll never understand half of what we haven't, and at least that's what I hear. Cause the universe is weird. Well, I was riding in a van with my brother, and I said, "Hey, John, guess what? Like, dude, no edge! Cause the universe doesn't exist in any way we can conceive it. No, sir, no edge, no none of that, whether or not you can believe it." And once upon a time, the acid puts 2 molecules like, "Hey, I turned me into you. This may be the biggest mystery of all the ones in which we dwell, how the universe created a tool with which to know itself." I'm kind of freaking out. What the heck is this all about? Infinite, unbounded sets and hadronizing gluon jets, and we'll never understand half of what we haven't, and at least that's what I fear.
But I did decide that I was going to sing also some songs about the human condition, about like how we deal with the struggles that we have, and how, you know, life is not always easy, but sometimes it's fantastic as well. So this next song is about that. And so it's the song after this, so that we got split up in half. Don't do this one much. So, hope you like it. Somebody once told me.
Your brain gets smart, but your head gets dumb. So much to do, so much to see. So what's wrong with taking the back streets? Not sure if you don't go. You never know if you don't go. Oh, hey now, you're an all-star. Get the game on, go play. Oh, hey now, you're an all-star. The show on, get paid, and all that glitters is gold. Only shooting stars break the mold. Well, it's a cold place, and it's cold. You better learn that way till you get older. The media man begs to differ, judging by the holes in the satellite picture. The ice we skate is getting pretty thin. The water's getting warm, so you might as well swim. The world's on fire. How about yours? That's the way I like it, and I never get bored. Well, now, hey, now you're a rock star. Get the game on, go play. Oh, hey, now you're a rock star. Get the show on, get paid, and all that glitters is gold. Only shooting stars break the mold. Somebody wants to ask, could I spare some change for gas? I need to get myself away from this place. And I said, yeah, what a concept. I could use a little fuel myself, and we could all use a little change. Well, the years start coming and they don't stop coming. Back to the rules and I hit the ground running. Didn't make sense not to live for fun. Your brain gets smart, your head gets dumb. So much to do, so much to see, so much wrong with taking the back streets. You never shine if you don't glow. You'll never know if you don't go. Oh, hey now, you're an all-star. Get the game on, go play. Oh, hey now, you're a rock star. Show on, get paid, and all that glitters is gold. Only shooting stars break the mold.
I feel like there's a solid percentage of you who are like, okay, that first verse was good, I get it, I get the joke. We're gonna go on to the next song, right? Smash Mouth came out, like All-Star came out, and I was like, I like this song. I'm 19 years old, or whatever it was, and I was like, I'm into this. Smash Mouth, and then like 2 years later, it's like, okay, yeah, no, we get it. All-Star by Smash Mouth, yes, it's not great. And then the internet was like, how about we give it another chance? And you listen to this song, I don't know, 5,000 times, but 5,000 different ways. And then you're like, you know, this is a good song. It's not a complicated song, but it's pretty wonderful. I'm all the way back around on All-Star. One more song about the human condition. Well, every living organism at one time was dust. An assemblage of atoms from our atmosphere and crust. These things, they come together, but only for a time. From that very first self-replicator oozing from the slime, we existed and we don't. That's just how we do. Everyone you know someday will also be dead too. We're all gonna die. We're all gonna die. It's the one thing which every living thing can rely. We're all gonna die. We're all gonna die. It's the one thing you can't live through. There's nothing that you can do with you and me, and thus we're all gonna die. Many folks will hope that there's a way out of this song. And if we feel hard
start and act to somehow we'll get along. We'll fix those telomeres, digitize our brains, freeze our dying bodies till the remedies attain. Well, I have some bad news for you, you can't outrun the hearse. The explosion of the summer heat, death of the universe. We're all gonna die, we're all gonna die. It's the one true thing on which every living thing can rely. We're all gonna die, we're all gonna die. The singularity won't save you, there's nothing that you can do. You and me and us, we're all gonna die. Well, the marvelous truth of it all is that death is such a gift because the only reason we can die is that we even live. The improbability of life in you and me and us, that we existed on a stick and kiss and taste and hear and touch. We've used our minds to make so many awesome things somehow, including all the words in the song you're listening to right now. We're all gonna die, we're all gonna die. It's the one true thing on which every living thing can rely. We're all gonna die, we're all gonna die. Everyone so far has died too. There's nothing that you can do, and you and me and us, we're all gonna die, we're all gonna die. So have a good time.
But this time it was accompanied by depression. I found nothing enjoyable. I struggled to get out of bed, the usual. It was at once utterly boring and absolutely excruciating. Sontag wrote that depression is melancholy minus its charms. I didn't want to go, but I felt obligated because Amy had done me this huge favor by getting me on the radio. I have to confess that in general I find relentless positivity super annoying. Like, whenever someone is talking to me about the wonder and magic of human life or whatever, I just want to like grab them by the collar and scream, "To live is to suffer!" But Amy was never deluded, and she always acknowledged the darkness amid her optimism. One of the last lines she wrote, and one of my favorites, was, "Death may be knocking on my door, but I'm not getting out of this glorious bath to answer it." So anyway, I went to the event. I was alone. I was very nervous. I was stuck with these invasive thoughts that I couldn't stop having. And also, Amy kept wanting the audience to participate in the things that she was doing, and I hate audience participation. It makes me nervous, first, because the audience might not deliver, and secondly, because, you know, I have paid for the show to be entertained, not to be part of the entertainment. And I was just in a terrible mood, and then Amy started talking about how in World War I, many British soldiers who didn't understand their cause or why they were being told to fight and die for tiny patches of ground far from home, they started singing this song to the tune of the New Year's Eve song, Auld Lang Syne. We're here because we're here because we're here because we're here. It was like this recursive lament, an acknowledgement that there was no why, that life in the trenches was meaninglessness all the way down. But that night in 2004, Amy transformed that song for me without ever changing the words. That night she made me understand that we were here, meaning that we were together. And even when we felt alone, we weren't, not really, because we were part of a vast and deeply interconnected us. And also that we were here, that a series of astonishing unlikelihoods had made us possible, and here possible, and together possible, this group of people that had never existed before and would never exist again. And that we might never know why we are here, but that we can still proclaim in hope that we are here. Amy made me feel in that moment what I have believed ever since, that hope is not foolish or idealistic or misguided. Hope that life will get better, and more importantly, that it will go on, is the correct response to the arc of history. Hope is, as Emily Dickinson wrote, the thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings the tune without the words and never stops at all. And even though I do truly hate audience participation, I hope that you will join me in singing in Amy's memory and in her hope. We're here because we're here, because we're here, because we're here. We're here because we're here, because we're here, because Hank's gonna play one more song and I'm gonna sing backup. And I'd really, really appreciate it if you do know the words, if you'd sing along. I think we all support.
You do you, John. So out in the deep sea, there's a fish. An organism that has created a very peculiar and amazing strategy for survival. Because in the deep sea there is not a lot of food, you might be the only fish within like several cubic miles. The only food there is, because there's no sunlight, is what will rain down from above, which is just dead plant and animal matter. We call it marine snow. Beautiful term. And well, there's a whole ecosystem based on marine snow, but if you're a fish and you're the only fish within a cubic mile and it's time to make a baby, it's like, hello! Like, we think it's hard for us. Imagine that. Like, in New York City, there's a person... Oh, God, there's so many. So, the deep-sea anglerfish has developed a peculiar strategy for handling this problem, which is that when a male anglerfish is born, he's just like a nose and some fins, so he can swim around, and testicles. And his entire mission, like, he doesn't have a digestive system. He cannot survive on his own, and his entire mission in life is to sniff out a female anglerfish, and if he finds one, he will bite her on her side, and then there's an enzyme in her skin that dissolves his lips, and their circulatory systems will fuse together until her heart feeds his body. We've all met this guy, right? And then, when it's time to make...
It's too close to the bone.
I feel bad about that.
It's too deep.
And then, when it's time to make the next generation of anglerfish, he'll be okay. Don't worry about it. A very successful career. Loving wife. And then, when it's time to make the next generation of anglerfish, the female anglerfish will release her eggs into the water, and then she will release a hormone into her blood that will make the testicles release sperm, which then come together to form a baby anglerfish. And that is how it works. It's fascinating. I thought that story was so beautiful, I wrote a song about it, and here it is. Yes, it's true that I once went through life as a guy who always had to rhyme life with strife. Yes, I've been burned and I've been spurned, and through it all, my friends, I've learned that love is not about whether you get stabbed, it's how slow the knife gets turned. I heard the song, I was laughing about it. I'm like, yeah, it's pretty good. But my friends, I've got an animal who doesn't feel this pain, and my life is so much better now that I can feel this pain. You can't eat the dish if you've only ever eaten fish. You can't feel a load if it's all you've ever known. If you're a deep-sea anglerfish, has a reason to be happy, but it has a freaking idea what else can be. Deep-sea dwelling anglerfish has to find a mate. They are always there together when it's time to procreate. See you butter by the young and like a demon on your side, and slowly keeping up this non-producing parasite. And if we can say he lives it all, he lives until she dies, and until that day he literally never leaves your side. Oh, you can't eat the night, you can't live without light, you can't eat the dish, you only ever eat fish, you can't feel alone, it's all you've ever known. Got a deep-sea anglerfish, having a reason to be happy, but it has a great idea what else can be.
Thank you so much for coming to our show. This night many times, and it has exceeded all of my expectations, so thank you. Thanks for welcoming this book into the world of kindness and generosity. I want to say a special thanks to the Strand Bookstore for all they've got signed books in the back if you want to buy them, but in general, please support your local bookstores. You're so lucky to have them. Keep them. I want to say a huge thanks to Town Hall for hosting us tonight in this incredible auditorium. everybody who's involved in the publication of Turtles All the Way Down, who's here tonight, everybody at Penguin Random House, my agent, Jody Reader, my editor, Julie Stable. I want to thank my family, our parents, my beautiful children. All our friends who joined us tonight from near and far. It's just meant so much to have everybody here in this space together. And most of all, I want to thank my brother for giving up on this life to go on the road with me. Thank you guys again, and please have a wonderful night.
You simply do not feel what is always there. You're better to entertain, the pain is the same. But if I do it all the time, you really call it pain. I don't have any friends and I don't have any hair. I matter every day, but when she doesn't care. Oh, you can't hit the night. You can't hit the dish. Only hurry, because you can't feel a load. It's all you ever know. Yeah, the juicy and the fish. Reasons maybe how you better have no good idea. What else do you need? Like these moments where people come together and we all do something together because it feels like we are doing a thing together as one.
But we're not actually all doing the thing together. There's a bunch of people who didn't Of course there are. But you can't tell that there are a bunch of people who didn't because there's so many people who did.
Right. And like the presence of something, it's very different from the absence of something. Like you can know, like I know that nobody in here is talking right now except us, but if all of you were talking, I wouldn't know which ones weren't.
So, we want to have a moment of, we want to attempt to have an extremely difficult moment of true togetherness, which will be as follows. We are going to sing Sweet Caroline with no If it works, which it probably won't, but if it works, it will be the best feeling you've ever had in your whole life. It worked yesterday at our warm-up show, and I wept simultaneously with joy and wonder. Okay, so it's very simple. We're going to sing Sweet Caroline, and like, if you don't know the words, don't sing anything. The main key is when it gets to the like that. Alright, we're gonna try it. And don't be the person who ruins this.
So good, no so good,
so good. It's gonna feel guys,
it's gonna be hard. It is an act of like Buddha level self-control.
It's gonna happen. Complete silence on the buzz and the so good, so good, so good. And nothing will ever feel as good as it feels. Oh God, we put our lives in the hands of this audience.
When it began. Wait, what did I do? When it began. I can't begin to know it. But if I to purpose. Was it the spring? Every day the summer. Who would believe in love?
Remember what we're doing here, guys.
Hands. Touching hands.
We can do it.
Reaching out.
Here it comes.
Touching me. Touching you. Bob, but I believe in my heart that was an accident. It's so hard.
so much. Mostly for that, but also for the rest of the evening. Now when we go to Washington, we can be like, listen, they did it in New York. We'd like to leave you tonight with a song by my favorite band. This song is about every year, but it is really about this year.
I broke free on a Saturday morning, put my pedal to the floor, headed north on Mills Avenue, and listened to the engine roar. My broken house behind me and good things ahead. Girl named Kathy wants a little of my time. 6 cylinders underneath the hood, crashing and kicking. I listen to the engine whine. I'm gonna make it through this year if it kills me. I'm gonna make it through this year if it kills me. I played video games in a drunken haze. I was 17 years young. Hurt my knuckles punching the machines. The taste of scotch witched on my tongue. Then Kathy showed up and we hung out, traded sweets from a bottle of bitter and clean, locking eyes, holding hands, twin high maintenance machines. And I'm gonna make it through this year if it kills me. I'm gonna make it through this year if it kills me. I drove home in the California dust. I can hear the alcohol inside of me hum. Picture the look on my stepfather's face, ready for the bad things to come. I downshifted as I pulled into the driveway. The motor screeching out, stuck in second gear. The scene ends badly, as you might imagine, in a Cadillac.